create a passion in something else. We're going to start off with what is an NFT, and I think we want to try and make this as interactive as we can. So any questions that you've got, just put your hands up. We won't wait till the end. We want you to have a good understanding of the process that we've been through, but also understand what an NFT is. So if we could just start with a show of hands, just if you know what an NFT stands for and how they're used now. So in the room, how many people know what an NFT is?
Not bad. Better than some, worse than others.
Okay, so that's probably where we'll start. In terms of what we've done, if we just click to the first slide. We'll just go, perfect. So, one back. Yeah, so we're Abu Crypto. Abu Crypto is the name of our NFT project. We started an NFT project here based on that Arabic family. We'll talk to you a little bit about that, our history here in the UAE. But we had a friendship group that was formed around cryptocurrency. We've then grown that into a business, and it's been a real roller coaster along the way. What we're going to talk to you about is NFTs and what they are, how they're used, and how they are going to develop technology in the future. What will the future look like? What will every digital asset be turned into in terms of an NFT? How are they monetized? And we're going to go through that whole process. We've met some brilliant people along the way. A week ago we met a 14-year-old student who created a beautiful NFT project, and at 14 she had turned over just less than $1 million in turnover from her NFT project. So it's a world which is fascinating. It's been monetized by many people, but there's lots of different opportunities there, but also we're going to have a look at the technology. So who are we? We are three best friends, as I've said. We've created a company called Abu Crypto. We've all been based in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi, for around 9 years plus. We've created lots of partnerships, and why we're here today is we've created a partnership with the Radisson Red. We've run some of our live events here. We've met our community members, and we've grown our company from there. So that's what's brought us here. So if we just flick through the next slide, I think as people from different organisations, so we come from education, we've come from project management, we've come from engineering backgrounds. We first had to decide on who was going to do what. Lots of discussions, lots of arguments, but we fitted into certain slots which have worked well for us as a company and as a project, and that's where we've got a tech lead, someone who's pushed the business forward, and then someone who's looked at partnerships and developments. And I think here in the UAE there's lots of opportunities to develop those partnerships in a growing infrastructure built around cryptocurrency and now NFTs that are coming through there. So then we'll go on to what is actually an NFT, and I think that's you, Austin.
Yeah, if I can get there. All right. What is a non-fungible token? Question of the ages. Anybody doesn't really know, but they're trying to figure it out. I try to break it down in let's break down the etymological wording. So non meaning no, fungible meaning replicatable, comes from the medieval Latin fungivice, meaning to serve for, in place of, but in the non-version, you cannot replicate it. A standard token is replicatable, 1 for 1, 2 for 2, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're all the same. But when we get into the art aspect or the non-fungible aspect, they're each unique to themselves. Each of these tokens are serialized like DNA coding, and they cannot be replicated. So NFT tokens that exist on the blockchain with unique identifier codes that cannot be replaced. That is the long and the short of it. So we have tokens, there are multiple versions. We get into the NFT side, it's single versions. When you buy one of our NFTs, you own it, and it's a single version. It's unreplicatable, it's bespoke. Yeah. Get into the blockchain?
Yeah, so we've got an NFT. So an NFT is a digital token that you can replicate. So where is that built, Austin? I think that's where we go next. What is a blockchain?
All right, let's go into blockchain. So the basic understanding, again, you break it down, is blocks of information that are chained together. This is syncly connected from one to the end. So there's no interruption of the information flow. What makes Bitcoin unique, the first digital network, is the fact that this digital ledger cannot be manipulated and it's trustworthy without a third-party verification. So I can transfer something to Johnny here, and we don't need somebody else to verify it. It's fully trustworthy and untamperable, and the primary word is it's immutable. It's forever, it can never be changed, and it's fully verified.
Yeah. We just got a question coming in there.
Thank you so much, but I have conflicts a little bit
Okay.
to be clear about. You said this is something unique, right? And it cannot be replicated.
In the NFT aspect?
Yes.
Yes.
So it has a serial number of the token. So what's the difference between currency, which has a serial number, it's unique, okay? And the token itself, it's a unique, so it has a serial number.
Correct.
So why is both of them have the same point that you mentioned?
Because let's say a dollar bill or a dirham is identical to another dirham. They're completely interchangeable. There's no difference. If I give you a dirham and you give me a dirham, there's no difference. But if I give you an NFT, it's not the same as the one you own. There never will be another one.
What I mean is the value is not same.
It cannot be valued. It can be valued, not necessarily. NFTs can exist originally as art, but not specific to art. More or less as data. If we choose to convert that data into art, then that's what it is. If we choose to convert that data into a contract, then that's what it is. If we choose to convert that data into a program, then the NFT is the program.
So I think the next question for me is what can you make into an NFT? So we've probably all heard of CryptoPunks, of Bored Ape Yacht Club, these type of NFTs. Now their singular NFT, which is essentially a JPEG, is selling for $1 million. So firstly, why is this JPEG, why is this bit of information selling for $1 million? And other than the avatar-based NFTs that we've seen, what else can you make as a non-fungible token? What can the technology allow us to do in the future?
So it starts as art because that's the first wave of all technology most of the time. The art wave hits it first. We can do audio, video, and digital information. And then what comes in the future of that is the digital certificate of every real world item. How can I prove to you I own this watch other than it's physically on my body? But if we had a digital certificate that was issued from the manufacturer that was transferred to me first to my smart wallet, I can show you I actually own it in a version which is immutable and more trustworthy than the physical item. It's hard to concept that. But imagine a future where you go to buy a sailboat. The manufacturer sells it to you first digitally. You can prove you own it. If someone takes a sailboat physically, you go to a court of law, say, here's the track record from the manufacturer to me. Whether that's a Gucci bag, how do you verify it's real? Maybe we can look inside and see a serial number. Now with the future of non-fungible tokens, forgetting the art, it's the digital certification of every item in the world.
I have one question. What if I have an NFT in Ethereum, and there is another NFT, it's another blockchain? Is it will be same or
Yeah. So if we're building on different blockchains,
Yeah.
with similar artwork, and we've seen this, how do you know the difference?
So the image, anybody can right-click and copy at any time. Does that prove you own it? You own the file, but you don't have it verifiably owned from the creation on the blockchain. So the point of creation comes from a smart contract, and then the ownership's transferred to you.
But how? The smart contract for each token I made in a blockchain
Yes.
has a different token serial number
Yes.
than another blockchain.
Yes.
So how can I prove my ownership of this blockchain in another blockchain?
Because the blockchain in which you own it on has the traceability. Let's say you bought this NFT.
Okay.
It has the full transaction history from the point of creation, to him, to me, to that person, then to you.
There is no way to transfer one NFT from one blockchain as a Solana to another blockchain.
There-
which is an Ethereum.
there-
It's a smart contract.
Yeah, you can't change across
Yeah.
blockchains.
There are solutions in the works for this. Basically, you have a replicated smart contract on another blockchain. all of them are replicated. You transfer it over, that gets held, and this one gets released. But to answer your original question, could I come along with another blockchain and copy everything? Of course you could. But it's like me coming along and saying, I'm selling Gucci bags in one country and now to the next. But it's under different branding, it's under different name. How do you prove the originality?
So 8 months ago, I was a PE teacher, and that's my trade in education. I managed to develop my understanding with Austin's help through the education to understand the blockchain, the technology, and I think as we grow as a society, NFTs and cryptocurrency are going to become a lot more. And the children that are here, they're going to be in jobs that we don't know are created yet. And a lot of these jobs will be in the infrastructure built around blockchain technology, because it's the next wave of technology in terms of Web3. So this is something that will continue to develop. People are now selling houses as NFTs. So you don't have to go through the lawyers and the contracts. You sell your house as an NFT. YouTube have just signed an agreement with a blockchain to monetize everything. Every clip that they make is getting made as an NFT. So I then work as a YouTuber and I sell my NFTs, and then the person that buys it then gets a stream of that monetization. So the technology is huge, and I think the one thing that I would say that I've learned is I've just embraced it, got inside it, learned, read, listened to people, talked to people, and your understanding keeps growing. But there'll be jobs out there in 10 years' time that we don't even know that are built around there. I think we've got a question from the teacher there.
Yeah, very low-level question probably, but I'll ask anyway. So, the value, is it still based on supply and demand? The value of the coin, the value of the NFT, is it still based on how much someone will pay for that?
Absolutely. What drives market is generally rarity, right? Why do we put value in gold? It's hard to get, it's hard to hold.
Right.
Same with Bitcoin. It's a limited supply. It's diminishing every year. There's less and less available. So if we make an NFT line that's bespoke and very exclusive, that can drive up the value. Value is also created in other ways. You can provide utility to the token, meaning that if you hold it, you get certain privileges and rights. Whether that's something as simply as coming to a private event, you have to be an owner. It's like a club, or you could have it to a private chat room, or you could go on and on with any utility you can give. So we can verify that you're an owner, giving you rights to special privileges that nobody else has, therefore driving up interest to buy it from you. And the aftermarket, or the secondary market, fires off naturally on its own to a tune of roughly $2 billion a month at the current value.
Okay, so the creativity is still there.
Yeah.
Your NFT.
Yeah. Some NFTs can simply be as basic, and you'll see them. They're not masterpieces of art.
Right.
The point is owning that item, getting the utility that item offers, not for the art. Some are just art, some aren't. Some are just a representation of a digital item. Yeah.
So we'll just walk you through how we've created Abu Crypto. So we've created a part of art which is 8-bit. If we just click on to the next slide.
If you allow me a question regarding
of course.
Thank you for that question. We live understanding the value is the utility that you get from certain object. And the value for the coins was established by the Babylonians in the Mesopotamian, 4,000 years ago. Now, we are establishing that the value is a virtual thing. It's in the mind of the beholder. It could be, there is no utility, no price, no quantifiable thing linked to that value. So the value is established as a height, as a virtual thing, as a consensus by a group of people, by monopoly, by duopoly, by whatever you like it. But does it have a value to me? Is it a service that treats my illness? Is it a food that I can eat? Is it clothes that I wear? Is it a currency that has a fiat? I don't think it is.
It has the possibility to, yes. I guess we look at it, all of our dollars, all of our currency, only 3% is physical. It's trusted by a government, we give it value, we trade it as a form of energy. And, but you put trust in that because everybody does. The collective trusts the value in that.
But you forget about value.
Sorry?
Currency has value because it's backed by government.
It's backed by
Everybody
government.
forgets about value. Yes, we
Right.
give a certain value now, but who is going to back it if tomorrow it collapses? No one. Who is going to back blockchain, Bitcoin? No one.
I would say the same about any dollar that is backed by a government. We've seen them
You
collapse.
see, you can retain certain value.
The dollar does not have gold, sorry.
No,
It's
America
canceled.
doesn't have gold.
1971 Bretton
We
Woods.
My issue is how much do we use cash now? So cash, especially since COVID's come in, has disappeared. We're now paying on our phones, we're paying through our cards.
Yeah.
How long before MasterCard and Visa disappear and then we pay on a blockchain? Because we don't need a bank to do a stable coin with a blockchain. We just need our own wallet, we manage it ourselves, we don't pay any fees. And stable coins in the blockchain are backed by dollars in a bank or gold in a bank. They are reserves of their currency. So
Sure.
blockchain and cryptocurrency technology is slightly different to NFTs. NFTs are built on those blockchains, are built on different cryptocurrencies, and those cryptocurrencies do fluctuate. In terms of NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, if we just pop back to how we built Abu Crypto, Austin, if you, as the art designer there, talk us through the process of how we built and what a layer is, how you made one image into 4,400, and then how you built out from there.
Definitely. Basically, you can form an NFT on layers. It's a simplistic form. It can be a single layer, such as a painting. But in this one, we run it through an art engine, and it forms the layers at random, and it creates the images completely bespoke, and it codes them with a coding, a DNA effect, let's say. Therefore, we can guarantee that no two are alike, and then when we sell them, we can uphold that through this layering process.
Go.
Well, you said that, well, I mean, in like, let's say, 2010, there was just cash. Now, then there was Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and now there's like NFT. So why would we like transition from Bitcoin to like NFT? Like, how is it better?
So I think it's two separate things. You build an NFT on a blockchain. So we built on Polygon, which is a low-fee network. You can build on Ethereum, you can build on Solana. So a blockchain is a method of storing your data for the NFTs. So they are interlinked, but they're not going to replace each other.
No.
It's just an opportunity to build a contract on a blockchain. The best thing about building those contracts is they are completely visible for everyone. So you can't hack them, you can't change them, you can't change their DNA. If Austin buys something from me, everyone can see that transaction. It's live on the blockchain, and through the scan, you can see that. You can see how much it transacted by. So I don't think it's a perfect technology. It's very much in its infancy. 8 months ago, NFTs had a huge boom, and it'd be interesting to see where they go. There's a lot of traditional artists coming on to put their art as NFTs. Lots of different ideas, but it'll be interesting to see in 5 years' time where NFTs are and what is their purpose. And I think they're still working out what their long-term purpose is. I think we had a question there.
So I have this question regarding that what determines the price of an NFT? Like, how do you cost your NFT? What all features does define that this particular NFT will be, say, 0.25 Ethers, or some other NFT will be, say, 1 Ether, something like that? So what all features does govern that?
Perfect. So, brilliant question. Austin, we'll work on this together. So, you price the NFT. So, we built an NFT project, we put a price on it, and we sold those NFTs. There's then a secondary market. So, people can then keep buying the NFTs, and the price then goes up. But the idea on price is it's governed by the people that own them. Because if you buy one of my NFTs and you want to sell it for half the price you bought it, you can do it, or you can sell it at a higher price. The project, the utility in the project, is where the price comes from. So in terms of if you own an Abu Crypto, you get access to parties here at Radisson Red. We are now launching a game. Inside that game, you can stake your token, and we're creating a token where you get paid in a cryptocurrency. But just from holding the NFT, you then get a tangible benefit of being able to play a cool game, which is built on the iOS store and the Android store, and you also get paid in a cryptocurrency. Now, the more people that want that cryptocurrency, the more price, the more liquidity in it. So it's really about the utility, and about 96% of NFT avatar projects will fail. Only 4% of them will have long-term value, and it's about the development team. So you saw in the initial stages of NFTs, a lot of people were an anonymous team. You didn't know who they were, so people were buying into them, and maybe they were going to tell you on their roadmap they were going to do something, but they never did it. So people now will buy into an NFT project unless they know who they're developing with. Has that development team created an NFT before it? What's their roadmap? What's their utility? I think, Austin, do you want to go on more about sort of price and how it's dictated?
More or less, you covered it. The developers will set the base initial price, and we can adjust it as we go. But the secondary market is uncontrollable. It's your art. You can sell the Mona Lisa for whatever you want if you own it, and that's how it works. The beautiful thing about smart contract and decentralized ledger technology is every time you sell that piece of art, we maintain a royalty of 10%. So artists now can come forward, music, video, and audio, and digital, can always get something from the resale of their art forever, for the rest of the time. Where now, once they print it and sell it, they never see any benefit from it again. It sells for $1 million the next day, they get 10% of that. It sells for $2 million the next day, they get 10% of that. And it's automatic through the use of a smart contract, which more or less auto-executes a transaction.
I want to just mention one point to clear the conflicts about NFT if it's possible. NFT is same like a domain name on the web. And if anyone, say for example, buy a domain www.facebook.com, alright? Based on the awareness of people about Facebook, the price will be high, okay? So Facebook.com, no one can buy it because they already own it by Facebook. Okay? So Facebook, they build a community around this Facebook, okay, domain, and now the price of the domain start to be increased based how many community are on it. This is exactly the concept about decentralized and the NFT about.
You're referring to domains as NFTs, correct?
Yeah.
So you can buy domains as NFTs now.
No, what I mean
Okay.
is, what I mean is,
Facebook.
what I mean, the character is the same like Mickey Mouse.
Yes,
for example.
yes.
The value of the Mickey Mouse is the community
Correct.
who's around aware about the Mickey Mouse
Correct.
itself. So as much people know, aware about the character itself, as much the price will be increased.
Correct.
As much people don't know about it, okay, as much the price will be low, okay? And also when it's coming to at the term of the ownership of NFT, it's the same like a domain name. When you book it or buying it from XYZ.
Yes.
So I can buy it from, say, a company which is called www.domain.com or other company which is, say, like Amazon Cloud.
Which may not
with
be
the same.
intended or.
But
yeah.
when I buy it, I commit my payment. No one can buy this domain. I own it, and it will be, all of them know this domain is belonging to certain person. The same concept that
100%. More or less, that domain is on a ledger system, which is what we know as the internet. So once you've claimed it, nobody else can claim it. Same thing, but decentralized, centralized.
No.
Yeah, but more or less, yeah, more or less. I agree.
There's so much to discuss in blockchain technology and NFTs. We've actually got another night down here on the 18th of March where we'll have different providers, different NFTs, different people in cryptocurrency, which we'll be able to give you a little bit more detail in here. So follow us on the socials if you want to get involved in some of those discussions. But the last thing we wanted to say is if you wanted to get into an NFT, how would you go about creating one? And this is the process that we followed. And you go through having that, we had an initial conversation about breakfast, about how we would, or what the art would be. My wife was, or is Iraqi, and I've grown up with an Arabic family, and I understood the values of an Arabic family. If you get in between her brothers and her, then you're out the door. And it's a really strong relationship that the Arabic family has. So we then built 8 characters. We brought mum, dad, grandma, granddad, auntie, uncle, son and daughter. And the idea of the NFT project is to try and create or collect all those 8 different characters, different rarities, and then inside the game you get added utilities, you get an added bonus if you own all those. And if you go back to your question on what makes it valuable, it's having those ideas and being able to constantly create hype around your project. Because some people will sell an NFT and then leave it and take their money. And I think when you look into an NFT, and if you want to buy your first NFT, the first thing that you should do is research the development team. Who is the development team? What are they going to do? What's their plans? And have they got any history in the market? So anyone could create an NFT, and that's the process that you would follow. From initial concept to design and development, you then embed it onto the blockchain technology, you market it, and then it's sales from there. So the top part is just e-commerce. Okay, the bottom part is very much a process that you would develop in any product that you develop. It's just the embedding it on the smart contract and the technology around that we've embraced, and Austin has led moving that forward. They were some of the questions that we asked ourselves about the traits, about the rarities, and then what we did in terms of our rarities, we made the royal family, the most rare, then the diamond families, then the gold, then the oil, then the water, then the sand, and we linked that to the Arabic culture. So that was how we linked our project to here on the ground. So it's been a really interesting journey. We've got Rob there who's put us straight onto Twitter and YouTube in terms of the live clip. He's in charge of our social media. He's been developing partnerships all across the UAE. It is a hugely exciting space to be in terms of cryptocurrency and NFTs. There's lots of events. There's actually Blockchain Month in March across the whole of Dubai. And that's a little bit of history about us and about what an NFT is. It's a brand new concept in technology. It's embracing Web3. Anything from you, Austin, to sort of wrap us up?
The word is disruptive. It's disruptive technology. It's coming whether we like it or not, and we're not the hugest fans of putting on VR and being in a different world, but the next generation are, and that's just the way it's going to be. Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Next questions?
Next slide for the socials.
Has anyone got any questions before we finish?
I can finish.
Excuse me. I assume you are on the public blockchain, it's not your private.
No,
Correct.
We're on Polygon, which is called Matic. The reason we went on Polygon and not Ethereum, there's very high gas fees. On Ethereum, Polygon is very low, so it's like 10 cents to buy an NFT. Tell us what a gas fee is, quickly, Austin.
The transaction fee,
Yeah.
but it's a public blockchain. Yeah.
Okay. The other one, I'm surprised now. My NFT cost me about $60 to cast on open space.
We've learned to grown.
And which wallet do you deal with? Do you deal with
MetaMask.
MetaMask?
Yeah. Ethereum virtual machine wallet. Your original question of why would we give it value?
Yeah.
It's the community that decides value. That's it.
No, I understand that, and probably will be in contact about some other.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, when we talk about a dollar, we put trust in the government, but it's the community that trusts that government. What gives value to Bitcoin is the community of the holders. And it is volatile, extremely volatile.
Do you have subscribers from outside the UAE?
Mostly, yeah. Yeah. Because the NFT community is a small percentage of the crypto community. And they can't have them all here in the UAE. They exist probably mostly in Europe and North America.
Thank you for that presentation and the introducing to this technology. I've got some follow-up questions and a comment. The first being, like you mentioned about the narrative that goes when you create these artworks, and based on which it creates a demand, and that brings in a certain monetary value to it. So the narrative is not something that goes on to the NFT. If you talk about the royal families, and if you don't have a certain number, the royal family,